You keep saying really interesting things that I want to dig deeper on, and I got a whole agenda of stuff I want to cover. But so you talked about ABM activation. This entire podcast is all for B2B ABM go-to-market motion companies. I would love to hear your point of view on what ABM activation is. And traditionally, marketing, if you just kind of look at it a very stereotypical way, it's like I queue up a lead, right? Somebody filled out a form. I got an email address. Now we turn it over to the SDRs or BDR team, and they do a bit of that early nurturing and discovery process and queue it up for the sales team. I'm trying to understand what's different about what you're doing from a traditional SDR BDR kind of a role. And do you work with SDRs and BDRs, or can you just decouple that for us on this ABM activation front?
Sure. There's a lot in there, so I'll unpack it slowly. What do I mean by ABM activation, which I think is a good question because it's one of those terms where you can ask anybody and you'll get a different answer on what ABM is. I think most organizations say they're doing ABM if they have an ICP and they're doing targeted messaging. My argument with that would be that's just targeted marketing. Technically, is it ABM? Sure. But for me, real ABM is when it goes beyond the marketing tactics, beyond the high velocity, high volume digital activations. And you're really, like I said before, sharp shooting at these very specific segments where you know you resonate well and you know you have a strong message and you know you can provide value. And you hone all your resources into a smaller categorization and really go after small lists. So you're one to few. And then even better when you can get mature enough to do your one-to-one. These are the deals we know we need to land. And this is the value we know we can bring. But it doesn't work if it's just marketing. So I've always hated that it's called ABM because
Yeah, account-based marketing, right? Yeah.
full go-to-market motion. So at BugCrowd, when we talk about ABM, we're not talking about our ICP. You have to have that. We know it. That's great. That's running. When we talk about ABM, we're talking about a true go-to-market strategy, inclusive of how we build the territories, how we have our Salesforce system architected, ops, channel, marketing, sales, co-ownership, sales playbooks. To answer your second part of that is, how does that work with SDRs? We do have SDRs at our team. They actually roll up to the marketing organization. We're lucky enough to have a really strong SDR leadership team who's very committed to ABM and some sales leaders who are also really committed to ABM. So that part works, that relationship works. But how it differs is they're not getting a whole slew of really early stage cold leads anymore. What they're getting is we use Sixth Sense as our intent tool. We have high scored accounts. And yes, you still have queues for all of your MQLs and contacts and people who do high value activities in those accounts. But we're serving accounts who are in a certain stage of intent with us, who have a certain amount of people in their buying group that are engaging with us at later stages. It's way warmer by the time it gets to them. And our SDR and sales teams are equipped with, how do I know how to drive the most value to this specific account using the quick AI-based research that we're able to provide? How do I know how to drive value for this specific team? And how does it differ by buying group member? They're much more trained on really targeted research-based outreach, value-based outreach for specific accounts than on, let me call a million individual people, sometimes only one per account, and do, hundreds and hundreds of dials every morning, saying the same pitch no matter who I'm talking to. I know that's never anybody's intention. We always want a little bit more personalization, but in practice, when you're doing high velocity, there's only so much personalization other than title and name that you can do. So they're really honing in on, do I understand this company? Do I understand their pain based off of what I know from all of the people engaging and all of the insights that I have? So it's much more about the account and what the pain they're trying to solve and how we solve that problem than it is awareness of who we are and trying to catch them at the right time and calling as many people as we can. The SDR team, honestly, is the bridge between all of us that really makes it work. But they take all of the goodness that comes in from the marketing organization, all the research and insights, and all of the partnership and networking, et cetera, from the sales team. It's really a handshake to make sure we're engaging with people where it's meaningful.